Good morning. It is Monday, January 11th, 2021, and welcome to Savannah Community Headlines Live, a weekly gathering around the virtual water cooler, streaming live now on 6 social media platforms. So hosting today is Catalina Garcia-Quick, and I'm Marjorie Young, and we're going to go around the screen, and everybody please introduce themselves, and we're going to start with Alfonso.
Hey, good morning. Nice to be here. My name is Alfonso Ribot, President of Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you for being on. Ed?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ed Yannette. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and I work out on the Isle of Hope and also all over Savannah.
Awesome. Okay, Michelle, we're going to pull you on next.
Hi, I'm Michelle Hawkins. I'm Assistant Director of Healthy Savannah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we've got Carolyn.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carolyn Guilford with One Life, One Choice Incorporated, a nonprofit organization.
Thank you for being on. Next, I'm going to pull on Rod.
Good morning, Rod Cassavant with SCORE Low Country. For those of you not familiar with SCORE, we're a national organization that supports small business, whether it's startup or current business. And it's we have over 11,000 volunteers across the country. And we have a chapter also in Savannah. We all work together supporting this community.
Thank you, Rod. I'm going to pull on Mike Waters next. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Marjorie. My name is Mike Waters. I'm a business mentor and the vice chair. Rod is our chair. We're pleased to be here. And we're coming live and direct from the Low Country to everyone. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And now we have Chris Benton.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Benton. I'm with the Coastal Buzz, and we're relaunching the Coastal Buzz, which is an online publication for positive news throughout the coastal empire and the low country areas. And we're also launching Flat Fee Barter, which is going to be a barter company that is a flat fee, the first of its kind in Savannah.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being on our show this morning. But before we get into all the details, we've got a few community headlines announcement. And of course, we always talk about Coastal Pet Rescue. And this guy right here, Wacko. He needs
he's a cutie. I'm not a big orange cat fan, but he's a cutie.
He is, what does it say? He apparently has a brother too.
He's got a brother. He's super polite. He's very, very charming. He is friendly to dogs. He's not afraid of dogs. So he would be great for a family that already has pets. And he loves and adores his cat tree. So, I mean, it sounds like a very well-rounded cat personality.
Absolutely. So if you would like to meet Wacko, you can give him another name, right? Call Coastal Pet.
He has a brother named Roscoe.
I always name my cats artists. So I've had a Matisse and I've had a Cezanne. Wacko.
Mine are always it has to sound okay if you're yelling it from your front porch, so you don't sound like a crazy person. So I'm always sort of like the 1 to 2 syllables.
Yeah. Hey, Wacko. Yeah, the neighbors might think you're talking about them. No.
Yeah.
And now call Lisa Scarborough with Coastal Pet Rescue if you would like to adopt this wonderful little guy here. So
Marjorie,
yes.
Can you, with the pet rescue, do they spay them, neuter them, declaw them, and how does that work? I don't know anything about it, so I'm just curious.
Coastal Pet Rescue, I believe they do.
They do. They take care of all that first round bit of stuff, and they make sure the animal is healthy, and you actually have to, they vet you a bit before you even are allowed to adopt. So it's really a great process and organization, and it helps keep keep our kitties and dogs and cats and whatever else they have over there safe.
I already rescued a Wacko dog, so I'm fine for now. So.
And why don't we let's hear more about
announcements this morning. This is like a huge Happy New Year day.
It is.
big announcements. Let's let Ed go first. Tell us about, you said you were a real estate agent, but you were also the publisher for the Isle of Hope News, correct?
Yes, my brother-in-law and I do the Isle of Hope News, and it's a newsletter that goes out to, I think it's around 3,000 people, all in Isle of Hope, Dutch Island, up and down Norwood, Ferguson. But it's a newsletter I started about 11 years ago, even before I became a real estate agent, because the neighborhoods, we have a great neighborhood. It's a really tight-knit community, and there's always a lot of stuff going on, but we've never had like one outlet like a newsletter to publicize everything. And I did that. I should have dug up an old copy of the newsletter. I have the first couple of editions, but it was a hit right off the bat. I mean, phone rang off the hook. People wanted to advertise, contribute, do articles. And Chris took it over, I think, about 5 years ago. And I still help. I do a lot of business stuff and real estate stuff. And but the oh, what is that? Mr. Wacko needs a home. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I'm going to see the comments that come up in the feed.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know what that was. But anyway, yeah, the newsletter, it comes out every other month now, or is it quarterly? We just changed it. I think it's quarterly now, but it's also online. There's a Facebook page, which is a real popular outlet for people to really promote their businesses. And Catalina and I were just talking about kind of her coming on and helping us with the promoting local businesses, because as you can see, I've got I'll give a plug to, can you see my sweatshirt? Yeah, Christy over at Nonstop Fitness, I think there were 10 or 11 businesses that burnt down.
Yeah.
And that was something we tried to help fundraise, and the fundraiser's nice, but man, guys, I could not imagine losing your business. I just couldn't. I mean, you know, that's and these guys, you don't. If you've never owned a business, you don't understand, because it's like a child. It's like, you know, blood, sweat, tears, dreams, everything is in that business, and then for the darn thing to burn down. I mean, I can't even fathom. But anyway, that was one thing that we helped. I'm sorry, Mark.
What's the status of that? Are they going to rebuild? And did they ever find out what happened with that fire or how it got started?
It was nothing mischievous. It was just an electrical fire. It's an old building. From what I heard, talking to the guy who owns it, it started in the backside. They had everybody out there. They had the ATF. Somebody else was out there.
That building for like 10 years.
But yeah, the fire department was there investigating, but there was not, because it was, I guess if a fire is a certain size, that they send everybody out to investigate it. But it was nothing. I mean, it's just an old building, you know. And like I said, there were 10 businesses, maybe 11, that, you know, they lost everything. And of course, it's never a good time, obviously, to lose your business, but then to lose it during COVID, it's like, come on, you know. Right. And I think one business just started, literally just was opening. And then I think Nonstop Fitness just went through a remodel.
They did.
You know, within a week, Catalina?
Something like that. Yeah, no, they were.
Anyway, I don't want to just support them, you know, but we do a lot of stuff here on, you know, with Sandfly, with the neighborhoods, with the churches, with the pool, with, you know, everything that has to do. And I did this before I was a real estate agent. Okay. I've loved real estate. I've worked in real estate since I was out of college. And, but before I ran a T-ball league, I always supported the pool, just everything in my neighborhood. So.
Hey, Ed, I have a question. We just got mailed the flood maps. What's happening on Isle of Hope with the new flood maps? I know this is really off.
No, I don't think they're new. I think that's just the map they send out the first of every year. The flood maps, I don't think have changed, have they? I mean, I don't. They changed.
I know. I'm one of the few places in Isle of Hope. There's this tiny little strip up my street that's like one of the few places that you don't. I have it, but you don't have to have flood insurance where I live. There's like this tiny little line in Isle of Hope, and
so you'd be in an ex-flood zone, but I don't think they're changing the flood zone.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
They changed in 2018 in August, I think. was that I think it was the date, but I did a whole series of videos on the changes, but they might, sometimes they'll change what the coverage and building requirements, but I don't think, and I think they are changing the building requirements for new lots and things like that, but I don't think the flood
part hasn't changed.
Zoning is going to change, and that's easy. You can find that on the sagis.org website.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, living out here, everybody should have flood insurance. I don't know what else you want me to go into as far as.
So our big announcement. Now that you have, I love the Isle Hope News. I think I love it. Reminds me of kind of that old time, newspaper thing. Yet it's new and modern, but it's got that old time small town feel to it. The big announcement this morning is that Savannah Community Headlines Live, our water cooler, will, as of today is our first live broadcast on the Isle Hope News Facebook page.
Oh yeah,
and we are officially a broadcast. They are a new broadcast partner for us. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys. Yep.
Now we're live. Now we're not only live from Isle of Hope, we're live from Isle of Hope News too.
Well, one of the things Alfonso said something earlier about the 40, or Chris said something about 40 over 40, and then Alfonso said something about older folks bonding with the younger folks. Is that one of the cool things about the newsletter is Chris interviews all the old timers from Isle of Hope, and they have just I've sat in some people's kitchen just talking to them at porches, and they're fascinating to hear the stories about how they used to make moonshine on Dutch Island 100 years ago, and how they used to run the train up in front of my house. And it's just really, I've always had a soft spot, for listening to the 80, 90-year-olds tell stories. It's like, I couldn't even imagine. Can you imagine, Catalina, if you're 90 years old, what you've seen in your lifetime?
I wish I would have seen my grandfather longer.
I don't even know. I don't know. It's just, it's really cool. And those are they're timeless articles. Because like if I gave you an Isle of Hope newsletter from 5 years ago, you'd read the article about Noel Wright and you'd be like, wow, I never knew that. So it's evergreen material. It's not, like, oh, who won the football game or who won the stupid presidency or what, it's really, it's stuff that 100 years from now, I'll be very proud that stuff's in print so people can read it,
So Ed, we need to get some of those folks on this show, and so we can talk about it and then stream it live also.
A whole show on Isle of Hope history easily.
Yeah, they're neat people. So, but it's funny because it dovetails into, like, I'll give myself a little plug as a real estate agent, because when you talk to these people when they bought their houses here 60, 70 years ago, I mean, Kat, we could have bought a house on the Bluff 30 years ago for 100 grand.
I know.
70 grand.
I know.
So
I think that's anywhere though. I have my aunt in California. She originally bought her house for like $12,000 50 years ago, and now it's like worth over 1 point something million just because of where it is.
Yeah, well, that kind of dovetails into what we do as far as why I love real estate, is because everybody needs a roof over their heads, and if you stay in it long term, you will make money, guaranteed. I mean, I can't tell you how many clients I've sold houses for, and I get the settlement statement. I'm like, God bless them. They just, people paid their houses off, and they lived and they worked and they did everything they need to do. And because they made the one decision to buy the house, high interest rates, low interest rates, doesn't matter. You're in a house for 30 years. I promise you're going to be extremely happy because you need a roof over your head. So what are you going to do? Am I going to rent something and pay that guy's mortgage, or am I going to buy something for me and make me rich? So there you go.
So we also, Catalina, you also have another announcement with Alfonso.
Yeah. So Alfonso is the president, as he said earlier. He's the president of the the Savannah Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and this morning is our first live broadcast on the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page as well. And so Alfonso is our second broadcast partner that we are announcing this morning. Alfonso, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Hispanic Chamber?
Oh, wow. Thank you, Catalina. Thank you, all of you, for having me here. I do believe that this is going to probably set a standard for the Hispanic community to have something like this too, but in Spanish. Sorry. So yes, we are on our coming in our seventh year as a organization, and we have we've been recruiting for board members throughout Savannah, and one of the things that we want to do, we want to reinstitute a lot of the training in bilingual training that we're going to have. We also have something that's really important in the community, which is, teach our kids to rather than more than just get a job, to create jobs. So we're going to institute the Youth Entrepreneurship Academy. It's going to be a bilingual summer program for now, with all the public schools that want to sign on, and universities. So this is something that we're working really hard to do this summer. But before we can do that, we need to get a group of people who actually will help us carry that mission. And we have been recruiting board members for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And we're down to 9 finalists, which we'll get to know today, this afternoon, and then we're going to be releasing their names and their positions and swearing them in February 9th. It's exciting because as we've done this for the past 6 years, we find the need that we have to, like I mentioned earlier in private, we need to become relevant. Every organization has to become relevant. We live in different times. We're different. Not just a pandemic, but laws, regulations, way to do business, demographic changes. We have to become relevant as an organization to be able to continue existing, and that's what we're doing. We're getting younger board members with experience and knowledge and skills that will help us carry the Hispanic Chamber for the next, I don't know how many years. You don't have people don't have to be Hispanic to be in the Hispanic Chamber. I know that one of our members, Lisa, Janet, Ed, you guys, Horizon staffing?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so she's been a member, and you guys have been going to all of our activities, able to give us a lot of counsel and press. And I was a SCORE volunteer, Hispanic SCORE volunteer, but I couldn't do it because of my responsibilities. Although I don't have I'm not doing everything. I'm doing everything, but not a master of all. And I need masters in that. And that's what we're doing, a call to anybody that wants to really, really help the Hispanic community and the Hispanic business community to grow and flourish. We're asking people, okay, you can become part of the chamber, but you can also help us. For example, in real estate, we're looking for a place for the building, so that we can have a lot of the services the Hispanic community don't have right now in their own language. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're doing. And pretty soon, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation. So the 9th is going to be the swearing in of the new board members. And we're going to send an invite to the whole community to see how many show up, and see an event that hasn't happened for maybe last time we did it was 2018. So you get to know them, you get to give them your tidbits. And other than that, on a personal note, I just moved to a new home here in Port Wentworth. I'm still in the discovery mode because there's so many places that I want to do stuff. As you can see, my office has no pictures, nothing yet. But I'm working on that. And we're also expanding to the Southeast Georgia, 12 counties. So through my walks with the Census Bureau, under a good friend of mine, leadership of Thurman Tillman, many of you know him. I was out there with the census trying to get people to get counted. It's so important to get people counted. So that's because that's money and power and representation. So I went through 80 counties and I saw there's a lot of Hispanic owned businesses in each one of those counties. And guess what? They're flying out of the seat of their pants, many of them, but they're successful.
So Alfonso, I've got a question for you, and
Sure.
I've got a question for SCORE. SCORE, is there any way that you could help the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce with mentoring?
We are partnering with
You
Mike.
partnered with SCORE?
With Mike, yes.
Okay.
Mike Siegel. And we're going to be promoting they're going to come up with, I don't want to steal your thunder, Mike and Rod, but you guys are going to be doing a Spanish entrepreneurship series, right?
Well, this is the South Carolina one. They're
Oh.
right over the bridge. So
Okay.
Michael Siegel, they
Savannah.
are.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So
but-
anyway, so we're on the right path. So we're going to be
Alfonso-
promoting that. We're going to be promoting that. And we have, hopefully we'll get another valuable member on our board, Catalina. So she's going to help us a lot with putting a lot of these things together among with the other board members. But the thing is that when we did the Hispanic Chamber, I focused on the business side of the organization. But see, every business, and I believe Ed said it a little while ago, every business has a flag bearer, and that's the owner. Mm-hmm. The owner is the one that suffers the most whenever something goes wrong with that business. They got a family, and not just one family. It has the family and the families of all who he or she employs. Mm-hmm. And every time that they go down or they suffer a loss, everybody suffers. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, business owners, Ed, and all of you, you understand that sometimes you kind of bear the blunt of the shock, right? But you don't pass it down to your employees until it's like really, really, really too late. When I say too late, when you cannot fix it. So we noticed that there's a lot of social needs that have to be addressed. And before these individuals can become successful in their business. Because after all, in the Hispanic realm, a business is a family. Mm-hmm. Everybody is in there. Everybody loses. The family loses. And so we have created the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation to address those social needs.
That's awesome.
Doing business with a social conscience. And those are some of the things that we're going to be addressing this year, putting it together.
That's fantastic.
Hopefully by the end of the year. Excuse me?
I said, that is absolutely fantastic. I was doing some searching while you were talking, and I was looking to see, you mentioned the census. And so I was looking to see what the Hispanic population was in Savannah. In 2018, it had it just under 8,000. And I'm sure there's obviously more than that, for those that are, so not everybody always picks that box on the census. But quickly, Alfonso, because we have to get to everybody else on the panel, about roughly how many Hispanic businesses are there in Savannah?
Well, the Savannah,
with the chamber,
a lot of them are propping up, and they're not members of the chamber, Hispanic chamber. Okay, so I could tell you out of the ones that we have in our chamber, 80%, roughly 80% are Hispanic, and the rest are not.
All right.
Well, thank you.
I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited to, this has been a long time thing for me, wanting to be involved with the Hispanic Chamber. And, people, the Hispanic community is much more than jalapenos and Mexican food. So I look forward to hopefully, look forward to February and hopefully it being, incoming onto the board. And Marjorie, who do we have next?
We've got Nichelle, and she's going to give us an update about getting your flu shot. Hey, Nichelle. Good morning.
Hey, how are y'all?
I'm good. How are you? What do we need to know about flu shots?
I can talk for as long as, as this whole show goes. But first thing I want to say is that the flu season can run as long as May. Usually it stops at about February. Either way, though, it's really important to get that flu shot if you haven't already. And I'm still talking about the seasonal flu, the old flu. One of the main reasons is that we've got COVID going on concurrently, and you can actually catch COVID and the seasonal flu at the same time. I can't imagine, but it does happen. And even if you don't have both at the same time, if you just had the normal flu, which is miserable enough, we want to avoid it, or at least reduce the risk of it by getting that shot. Because an estimated 400,000 people last year got hospitalized because of the flu. We all know what's going on in hospitals. We all know that they are at capacity or very close or over capacity. So you just don't want to overtax the system or get yourself mixed up with, folks who are dealing with COVID. So we're We at Healthy Savannah, having been here around 14 years, but just recently into the flu prevention realm, we want people to continue doing what we are all doing, wearing our masks and socially distancing and washing hands and using sanitizer when you can't get to soap and water, because all of that, I think, is helping. We also want folks to remember that it is not too late to get that flu shot.
And where can they go to get those? And what is the cost?
Usually it's free.
Okay.
And and you probably have seen the promotional signs all around town, outside your CVS, outside Publix and Walgreens and places like that. Those are some of the places. Most pharmacies will get your flu shot. A lot of workplaces have, if they haven't already given flu shots to their employees for free, then they're about to. And finally, there are places like the county. And what I'm sending people to is herohelpme.com. So herohelpme.com, and that is a community-wide clearinghouse directory of lots of stuff. But there is a button where you can find an exhaustive list of places to get your seasonal flu shot. And there's a whole bunch of other great stuff there. There's a button on COVID. There, lots of health, health concerns, lots of human service concerns. As a matter of fact, the most popular one is, I think, among them are like housing relief and aid for utilities and finding fresh food.
Very good, Nichelle. All really important information. Here is the website that people can go to if they need assistance in rent or housing or how to find food. Go to this website. Last year, over 9,000 people accessed this website seeking help. That's how critical this time is in our world right now. So thank you.
Yeah, and I want to underscore that it's, this is for just because you may not need help, with housing or food, it's still a really invaluable resource. We have not had anything like this. We've had directories and lists of services where people can go for one or another situation, but this is the first time we've had a community-wide searchable database. The kind of thing that we all need at some point or another. So I encourage everybody to use it and take a look at it, because one day you may wonder, where can I find A, B, or C? Try Hero Help Me First.
Fantastic. It really, I was so excited to see it come up. I work in the nonprofit sector in education and work with a local, have worked for the last 5 or 6 years with a local nonprofit that was sort of putting together a database of information for the nonprofit sector that provides wraparound services. And we would go to that website and look, like, I have a child that needs, or I have a family that needs, and you could find, some of those resources there. And it was sort of all in one place. this is like that on steroids. It really is fantastic. And if you don't have a need immediately, you always run into people, or you hear stories, or, I always find that when I have something going on in my life, no matter what it is, I always tend to run across somebody else who maybe like I was talking to Alfonso about something last night, and he was telling me a story, and that story actually applied to something that I'm dealing with right now. And I can use that information as a resource to help through it. And this website is very much something along those lines, and then some. So
it reminded me, so excited about it when we first started working on it at Healthy Savannah with the African American Health and Information Resource Center. They were the ones who gathered the information, studied, did focus groups to determine the best language to be able to reach the most people. And immediately, the first thing came to mind for me was that when I went off to college, I was in a relatively new city, thousands of miles away from Savannah. And most universities, large universities, will have a directory of places where, if you are dropped, into a city and you're new, you can find what you need. And that's what it reminded me of, the kind of place where, the kind of resource where everybody can go when they have no clue how to find something. So
I think it's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I think next up we have Miss Carolyn, correct?
Wait, Chris, Ed had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Ed. Sorry.
No, that's right. I don't know what the format is, so I don't know if we're allowed to ask questions or.
Yes, talk away.
Okay. I heard everything you guys said, but explain what's the database? You said a searchable database, and of course my ears perked up as a real estate agent. But what is that? I mean, just real quick. It has
the distinction. You remember? Well, in times past, a lot of times in Savannah, if you needed a resource, some organization, probably a nonprofit, would give you a list and like, okay, this is where you can find, but it was just made a piece of paper or something on a website. This way, you go in and you can put in your zip code, and then you put on what you're looking for. Say, where I can get a flu shot, and so this will narrow down and find you addresses of places close to where you are to get a flu shot, or to get information about COVID, or to find fresh food options.
Okay, so if you're homeless, you could find. I mean, this is the catch-22, because if you're homeless, you don't have access to a computer. But we did blessing bags at our church, and I looked far and wide for a list of places that we could stick in the bag where homeless people get resources for whatever, showers, clothes, food, shelter, and it was very hard to find. And I finally found one, but it was like Xerox so many times it was hard to read, and it was teeny. But is stuff like that? Would that be on there?
Well, tell me again what you were looking for homeless services.
Resources for homeless people.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm sure I know Ariana Bergsteiner from MSAVHCC has been on before, but if you don't know her, get to know her, because she would be the first person I would ask. Ariana is executive director of MSAVHCC. And she's an invaluable resource. So I would check with her.
Okay.
And Liz is going to put Liz who is backstage will put the website for the database in feed, and I can send it to you as well after the show. And so if you have any questions or want to see what is actually listed there, you can get that information from our feed.
Yeah, go use it before you need it, so you'll everybody. Yes. So you'll have a familiarity. Oh, this is where I can go find this. So
yes, all right. I think we've got the beautiful Miss Carolyn coming on next, I believe.
Yes, I just want to let everybody know that many years ago I met Carolyn, and the first thing we started talking about was the importance of nutrition, and she had actually helped a patient that was dying in hospice of cancer, got him out and helped him live because of how Carolyn switched his diet. And that's not just one story. This woman has many stories. And I wanted her to come on today. She's got some programs coming up. And Carolyn, let us hear what's happening in your world.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Marjorie, for inviting me. I don't know what to tell you. We started a support group to support women after a cancer diagnosis so that they could become long-term survivors, to teach them new nutrition ways of changing their diet, new lifestyle measures, so that they're not just doing the same old things that allowed the cancer to develop and grow initially, but to turn it all around so that they could have the opportunity to have a wonderful, full life after a cancer diagnosis by changing their diet and rethinking their lifestyle.
But how do you change people's diets? That is such a hard thing to do. What are the biggest culprits in diet that you see cause cancer?
The biggest culprits would be processed foods, not getting the nutrients that the body needs. The body gets information from the food that we eat. And if we're eating poor quality food, then the body is going to react poorly to the information that those poor quality foods feed the body. Mm-hmm. So we change their diet, but also we have to work on their mindset. Mm-hmm. Many times it's very hard for a person to consider change because they've done this their whole life. They've done it this way. They've thought in this way their whole lifetime. So changing the way that they think, broadening their horizons, giving them an opportunity to see that change can benefit them, we have to work on their mindset, then the diet, and allow them to have hope for a brighter future.
I believe when somebody comes to work with you, you actually, pre-COVID, didn't you go to their house and go through their cabinets, or you would go shopping with them?
Both of those things, and still sometimes I will do that. Recently, I had an opportunity to work with a family who lives out of town, but where they live, they had a guest house. So they invited me to come and stay at the guest house several weekends, and I would teach them how to eat, how to cook, how to shop. We'd go to the grocery store together, wearing our masks. We go with our agenda and search out the foods that are healthy and give them the opportunity to learn how to read labels, because this is how you know to differentiate between what is good for you and what to leave in the store.
And I know that you're also very involved with changing diets for folks with diabetes, type 2 diabetes.
You know, I came to this honestly because I started life as a critical care nurse. So my love of a challenge, I guess, started there. So many people that I took care of in ICU did not have a good outcome, and I wanted to be able to learn how to change that. And it took many years, but finally I was introduced to nutrition and how nutrition is really what either becomes our salvation or our downfall. We're used to seeing food as something that should be quick, easy, and cheap, and that's just the wrong avenue to take. We have to be responsible for ourselves. We have to be responsible for the choices that we make. And we have to understand that our choices do have consequences. So I want people to choose healthy food, clean food, and make the effort to go out of their way to do what is right for their body, even if it's counter to the culture. And most times it is counter to the culture. So we have to change our mindset and our thought patterns.
Carolyn, I salute you to your mission to help people understand nutrition better. It really is, you're moving the needle, you are saving lives. And for folks that want to get in touch with Carolyn, here is her website. And I thank you for being on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have to say, Nichelle and I are chatting off to the side over here. Miss Carolyn, my mother has had cancer 3 times and beat cancer 3 times. And she is 82 years old, and she is not on one medication anymore. She is not on any medication. She doesn't have arthritis. She takes yoga 5 days a week, plays, tennis and walks and does all these things. The first time she was diagnosed with cancer, she was 52 years old, and it scared the bejesus out of her. And she's always been very healthy, but she really went through at that time and went to see a nutritionist and completely changed her diet. And they have told her now, she was diagnosed with a certain type of cancer and has since beat it, that her nutrition has played a part in her health and survival. So it absolutely is. And
we're getting a lot of feedback here.
See, Healthy Savannah does such great work along the lines of changing and diet and all those things. Because poverty is such an issue here. And the most overweight I ever was when we were on food stamps when I was younger, because we had you had limitations, cost limitations to what you purchase, and options seem to always be processed foods and so forth. So thank you so much for coming on. And there's so much good work happening here. I'm going to shush my mouth because I could go on about this all day. We have SCORE. We have some fabulous SCORE things happening here too. So Marjorie, take it away with SCORE.
First, I want everybody on here, if we can mute our mics, because we are getting some feedback here. But anyhow, Rod and Mike, they've got some big announcements with the South Carolina Low Country SCORE. I just wanted to make sure everybody understands there's a Savannah SCORE, and then there's the Low Country SCORE up in Hilton Head. Both have been instrumental in helping the small businesses during this COVID in surviving and thriving. So Rod, take it away.
And I'll tag team a little bit here with Mike on this, but it's good to meet everybody virtually. I think I found myself saying that all throughout last year. Nice to meet you virtually. And, you think about it, if we would have had this session a year ago, January 11 of 2020, none of us anticipated what was coming. And what was everybody saying at the end of last year? I so look forward to putting 2020 in my rearview mirror and going to 2021. And, for obvious reasons. But let me say this, I think there's some silver linings from last year. And I know when we look at what's happened in our world, one of the things that forced us to do, well, a couple things. One was to go virtual. And many of you know that if you have a mentor in a small business, your chance of being successful just goes up significantly. And Alfonso alluded to that, whether you're involved with support from the chamber or specifically from a SCORE mentor. Our opportunity to impact more people last year, I don't think we would have ever anticipated that. I looked at the data recently. We actually had almost 50% more mentoring sessions with small business owners last year. It had everything to do with the fact that we could do it virtually. People didn't have to drive. You could see groups on a bit more frequent basis. And all of our workshops went to a virtual fashion, which wasn't easy. I can look back now and say, man, I can't believe the progress. And Savannah SCORE experienced similar things. We're 2 of 240 some odd chapters for your audience not aware of it. And so we're everywhere across the country. And you can request a SCORE mentor if you want someone right in your backyard, or you want a certain expertise, and you can work with someone not in Georgia or South Carolina. So a couple of things. One of the things that we got involved in a big way last year, Mike led our team on this, and that's really helping businesses get funding through the SBA, through the new loan programs. And EIDL wasn't a new loan, but it was the first one coming out of COVID. The new one was PPP, and I think everybody has seen there's a round 2 now coming out of new legislation, and that's been a lifesaver for small business. A number of businesses wouldn't be here today if they didn't get that funding. The other thing I want to mention is our workshop series that we started last week. We decided, well, let's build on surviving 2020 to prospering in 2021. And so the title of our workshop series, it's a weekly series it's on Thursdays at noon, free to anybody that wants to join. Make 2021 a new beginning. And it's on all sorts of great content regarding your business, whether it be digital marketing, surviving in a variety of forms, social media, books. What should your focus be? This Thursday is make this the year of the customer, which should be right? But I think it was tough last year to think about that when you're just trying to keep your doors open. So
Absolutely.
that's a flurry of stuff. We're really proud, our team, of all we care about is helping other people be successful and our clients. And yeah, we get a lot of accolades. What's that?
And it's free. I mean, I just want to reiterate that to the small business owners. If you're watching, this is a free service. And I also promised Mike Siegel, who's the chair of the Savannah SCORE, that I would do an announcement that this is National Mentoring Month. And if you are interested in becoming a mentor with SCORE, either contact Michael if you're in Savannah or Rod if you're in the Hilton Head area, or go online to score.org and it can direct you to how you can become a mentor. This is really crucial right now, especially during COVID. We need all hands on deck to help small businesses make it past this amazing, horrible time.
So thanks for that reminder. It is National Mentoring Month, which is a great reminder of the opportunity to help a lot of small businesses, and Alfonso referenced it. It affects your family. We had businesses come to us last year who had never taken out a loan. I'm going to turn it over to Mike on that, because I think we learned a lot of things on how we can be even better at supporting small business owners, and it was triggered by the pandemic. So, Mike, that's you.
Mike, and then we're going to pull on Chris. There you go, Mike.
Okay, so we just want to mention very quickly that there's a commonality amongst everyone who has spoken already. It's very inspiring, this group. But what we do is one-on-one or two-on-one. We may have a mentor or two, depending on what the particular client is needing. But as has been pointed out, it's free. There's never a charge for mentoring from SCORE. We're volunteers. And it's find a mentor at score.org. And it's confidential. We do not discuss anything outside of SCORE that particular business is in need of. And I'm going to reference something that Ed said, that these businesses are, this is the blood, sweat, and tears of that individual, and they have their dreams and their financial and their business and nonprofit objectives. We're there to help them. We're a channel to resource. And so it's great to see this group come together today. And this is a lot of what we do. And whether it's Marjorie in her role, substantial role as a SCORE volunteer, Alfonso in your role as a SCORE volunteer, and we're just happy to do that. So we focused on the link between SBA and SCORE. We're primarily funded by SBA. We're a resource partner, and we're a channel to resource whatever that particular client is in need of. And by the way, Ed, I've been to Isle of Hope. It's a wonderful community within a community there. I knew I was someplace special. Marjorie and I have a common shared love for film, the film industry. I've done some work and actually was on location there at a really sharp place, not far from the firehouse, actually, and that big white church there. So,
great. That's the Methodist church right down the street from me.
Okay, well, it looked like a postcard, as well as a lot of the other part of the community there. I knew I was in someplace special. Let me put it that way.
Great.
So just to reinforce and say that we learned so much in 2020. We learned from every client. We learned from every mentor. We are proud to be part of a one SCORE organization around the country. And we're only a click away, whether it's an email request, a phone call. We're here to help businesses and nonprofits succeed.
My the book that I wrote this past year, Reputation Matrix, it starts out about my story and how my father was trying to avoid bankruptcy up in the Alexandria, Virginia area. And the first call that we made was to SCORE.
There you go.
And,
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Kat, let me plug the book. You told me about it Thursday? Friday? You told it like last Thursday. I bought it, got it Friday. I've already read 80% of it. Mark, it's awesome.
Thank you. And
actually, I believe you said you bought more than one.
No, I bought one because I wanted to read it. I wanted to see if it was the real deal, and it is the real deal.
It is the real deal.
Listen, Chris, if I can relate to it, can read it, anybody can relate to it and read it. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I read that thing, and I was like, okay, my eyes are watering thinking about your families. Yeah.
It was really hard.
SCORE is such a fantastic resource. People have no idea. You know, we're talking a lot about small business. I'm going to make a quick plug to their work with the nonprofit sector. You know, I've worked with nonprofits large and small. Ed mentioned the pool here in Isle of Hope, just an example. The pool is really, really small. I mean, it's just a community pool. It's volunteer run. I've been president. I just finished, or I'm at the end of my 4th term as president. And I'm passing the torch. And when I took it over, you know, it was this Rubbermaid box that was following around the island. And they said, here's some keys and go. And everybody's a volunteer. And no one had really any experience in nonprofit. And one of the first calls I made as well was to SCORE. And they mentored me and helped us set it up and make it, you know, check all the boxes and do all the things that you're supposed to do for nonprofit and really get it to where we are now. So any nonprofit out there, any small business, if you don't have them on speed dial, put them in your phone. And B, Marjorie's book tells a phenomenal story about how they helped her and her family's business.
Oh, look at that. Oh, Ed.
There it is.
Nice plug.
So Marjorie's
Very good.
book tells a phenomenal story about SCORE and how they helped her family's business. And really it kind of jump-started your whole, you know, business, career, everything. I mean, you weren't originally in PR doing, you know, the work Carriage Trade does now. And then all of that happened. And here we are 25 some odd years plus later.
Yep, it did. It actually was why I ended up doing PR, because I saw the power of it. So it's actually helped turn my father's company around along with SCORE. So anyhow,
Marjorie, can I say one other quick thing? One of the things we decided mid last year is we need to step up and do something in a bigger way with minority-owned businesses. We've been doing things, but it's been kind of ad hoc. And I'll skip all the detail because it was quite a fascinating journey of talking with Senator Scott's office because of opportunity zones and getting connected with this. I'm talking about South Carolina here, but the point is broader. We got connected with the South Carolina Commission on Minority Affairs. It led to a collaboration. We have an MOU with them where we are going to support minority businesses across the state, starting in the Low Country, and bringing all of our resources to bear. I'm really excited about doing something that is really tangible and significant. And it's for all minority businesses. And there's a ton of them that need real support who may or may not be aware of the resources out there. So that's my plug for, we never know what we can do unless we try. And I'm so glad we tried that. And I'm excited about really implementing that this year. So there's my
what's an MOU?
A memorandum of understanding. You know, it's an agreement. Sorry, yeah, acronym. Too many acronyms. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us this update about SCORE. And we are going to pull on Chris Benton because we are almost at the top of the hour. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Chris, how does it feel to be interviewed? Because you're usually the one interviewing.
Yeah, because last year my wife and I interviewed over 300 people who were artists, actors, authors and athletes. I mean, we even had, you were talking about the film industry. We recently had the legendary actor Ed Asner on our show.
Oh,
That was
wow.
that was a
Fish.
really interesting one. We've got, I can't say who yet, but we might be having someone who plays a role in The Young and the Restless coming on soon.
Tell us about the new endeavor, this new program that you just started.
Okay, well,
About a year ago.
well, we're relaunching the Coastal Buzz, which is dedicated to positive news for the area. We launched a few years ago, ran it for about a few years, and then we let life get in our way, and we kind of took a different route. But we're here. We're like, you know what? With what's going on in the world today, I'm like, more people need to see the positive. And the goal of the Coastal Buzz is when people read the stories and all that, that they fall back in love with Savannah. Because a lot of people are frustrated right now, and we want to make people love Savannah. And, you know, we kind of partner with like the PR companies like Marjorie and other ones out there where they feed us the stories and we shoot them out there on our website. And so it's like one place for all the positive stories out there. And we, at one point, we had over 1,000 pages on there.
It's still up there. Did you just reenact it or reactivate it?
Well, the fan page is still there, but site we shut down. So we're actually rebuilding the site as we speak. So I'm going to have to, and I said, it should be up in a day or two, the website. And then, you know, I came up with this other idea that, you know what, everybody, and we want to come out with a bang here with the Coastal Buzz. You know, everybody always has the 40 under 40 that they recognize. And, you know, what about my generation? I'm 49, you know. So we come up with the idea, and we'll have a link on the website for people to nominate people, but we're going to create a 40 over 40 type of thing, so that people that are over 40 that's doing something great in Savannah can be recognized. I think that now is the time for that, and Savannah is such a diverse place. I think it's really great.
Okay, we've got some fun comments. Okay, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when will you launch that?
Well, the website should be up and running either today, tomorrow. I hate to say a deadline, within 3 days. You know, okay. I'm hoping to get the site up tonight. We'll probably have a link for the 40 over 40 nomination process and sometime this week. And we're also launching the first ever in Savannah. And this ain't the first in the U.S., but the first ever flat fee barter company. You know, I've been part of barter for years. And one of the drawbacks to a barter company is all the fees that are part of it. So, you know, because, you know, they range from 10 to 14% of every barter dollar that goes in. We're just making it simple. You come in, $29.95 a month, and you can do unlimited trades. And you're grandfathered in at that price. So we just feel like, you know, with so much happening within our country, business owners not knowing how they're going to make it, I think doing something within the barter industry might be a smart business decision. And so we're kind of going to do both the Coastal Buzz and flat fee barter.
And there's some SCORE mentors in here. They say if you actually have a mentor, you're going to make more money. There's statistics out on that. So I hope everybody on here can connect with SCORE, whether it's here in Savannah or if you're watching from across the bridge in South Carolina. And we are at the top of the hour by 2 minutes. So I want to thank everybody for being on the Water Cooler Savannah Community Headlines Live. Next week, we've got the whole series is about artists and this business of art. And we've got artists really from all over the world coming on, from India to California, a lot locally here with Honor Lynn and her group. So they're going to be talking about how they promote their artwork and what are some good tips and advice for doing that.
Very good.
All right, guys.
Thank you for everybody to come on. Yeah, you know what? I want to close us out today, Marjorie, real quick. You know, we've been talking here today. Everybody has had such fantastic stories, and we've talked about small business and nonprofit and mentors and all kinds of things happening in the community. And, you know, we were just talking about, your book, and we were talking about you know, how it really, Ed mentioned, you know, if every small business should have this book. I wanted to just mention real quickly, you know, the Reputation Matrix, which is the book, it's actually a method that I'm going to plug you for a minute, Marjorie, since you won't plug yourself. It's a method that she coined, and it's basically a reputation management method. And she, you know, you can use it to help build your annual PR plan and really work to move the needle. You know, we do a workshop, 5 strategies to increase your brand using PR. And one of our tips, to close out with a tip, one of the Carriage Trade tips is, if you run a small business and you would like to be better known in your community and online, this is a great guidebook for you, because it begins with knowing what the majority of new business comes from positive word of mouth. So you can go to carriagetradepr.com. Everybody else on the panel, Liz has put all their information in our feed. And I think today we've given like a lot of good information in a box to our community, Marjorie. I think we've hit every topic today almost.
I know, and I love our partnership with the Metropolitan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Isle of Hope News. I mean, this is how we're going to get through this crazy pandemic is collaboration.
Well, thank you to everyone for coming on. We are now 1 minute past the hour.
Wow,
so
we're
on Savannah time. We're a little bit late.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.